So now I have to explain to you what you're actually doing when you're courting people. Court, the court, courting. What does that mean? Okay, make this so we have a nice sound and no mess-ups here. Today's topic is courting. What does that mean? So people have their own witchcraft in their own right. Meaning what you project will go somewhere. Every thought you form will go somewhere. Also know that everything that you say or will say is going to be recorded. The internet is kind of like a conscious example of that or for that everything that you put out is going to be recorded. Even if you erase an account, uploaded images, erased images, there is like a subserver section that actually records everything. So know that when you use the internet, for it is written forever in cyberspace what was exchanged. Doesn't matter what. Has nothing to do with surveillance. You have created that yourself because you are the consciousness that has set that up to learn as a learning factor. So let's come back to how do we cut cords? What does that mean, cords and cutting cords? And how can I get rid of cords that are attached to me? So one thing we learned from Barbara Brennan is it's like in Kung Fu. When you talk with people, don't get entangled. The problem is, how do you dance the dance without getting entangled with one another, karmically or energetically? So it's to push and pull and knowing when to withdraw. Same principles of Kung Fu. You have to know when to push, when to pull, and when to withdraw. The highest form is to not be engaged in anything and everything works for you. So, when you have met a person, you psychically create an image of that person in your mind. So the person will be in your memory banks because you're storing that image. You file that image under what? That has to do with your human operating system. What does that look like? Under what is that person filed? What does your character evaluation system look like? Is it egoic, good, bad, positive, neutral, negative, zero, 3D, multidimensional? It's all holographic because it's imagery. So let's say you were entangled with a person and you no longer wish that entanglement, like you think you have cords. Let's say it's an emotional cord from your mother that goes to your heart. Well, you bonded with your mother when you were a child, so that's almost like you're hardwired, but not directly, it's just interdimensional, meaning there's an energetic plasma stream with a hook that goes from the mother to the child, depending on what belief system was imprinted and how she's talking to the child. So what happens is you tend to have accidents and mommy takes care of you. You're used to abusive love relationship. It's just an example. If it's you, it's you. If it's not, it's just an example. So you tend to have accidents. You moved out, but you still have the cord. So you're at home, you have an accident, what you do, you call your mother. The cord is active, energy transfer begins, and you're losing energy. So we want you to be independent so you can be interdependent in the cosmos. So if you want to cut cords, let's say A wants to cut cords to B. It doesn't matter what relation they have. That storyline has to do with the strength of the cord. So if you have a thought coming in your head, seeing that person in your head, that is that person being in your mind, and something gave you the impulse to bring that up. Could be that it's the person courting you sending you a thought. Either they hate you, they miss you, or everything else that you can imagine. So in order for the cords to stop is you have to erase that character in your play. I had that with a character around 2012 that I needed to edit out of my escrow. It's now a memory. I transformed that memory into a memory that used to be a character on a stage that I played on, and I'm the director, and I create and I uncreate. So what I did with that character is basically in my mind I imagined that being fired. I'm the director, I'm like Steven Spielberg, and I had to edit that person out. So that person doesn't even pop up on my mind. Not even by random. Not even when the person thinks about me. That means the cord is cut. You literally in your mind you have to delete or kill the character in the play of importance and labeling. But you have to train yourself with your mind and discipline to do so, and that's how you cut cords. So if you want nothing to do with that person anymore, don't go to the same spot the person is going to, because that'll trigger memories that you have with that person, and you're courting again, and you're doing it to each other. If a repelling mechanism is already, evident, it's only going to get worse. Worst case scenario, it's going to end up in a fight. For you to understand this is no longer your path. Meaning the universe will show you now in this ascension game very strongly it doesn't work. And we want to be hardheads and go there and we get slammed. I call it the frying pan in Tom and Jerry, when Tom runs around the corner, the cat, and Jerry has the pan, and he gets hit and you see the imprint of the face in the pan, and Tom is like, totally messed up. That's like, for you, that's like last resort. That's for you, like, you're not getting it. This is not your path anymore. This is no longer the direction that you're flowing into. You need to pick a different modality to connect with people in harmony. So, when you dance with people that you meet in your life, it's about to dance, with them in harmony. Know when the push and the pull and the dance and the draw away and to come together. It's a dance. If you can't dance the dance, it leads to complications. So for you to avoid that, you cut cords. You can also do that, let's say you had a reading session or channeling session, and you feel you're connected here. You go here with your hands, you call the Archangel Michael, as in the Michaelian force, and then you do this, and you take your hands, and you do this. Same thing with the heart. You hold that in front of your heart, left, right. You rub your hands, and you do this. Also, smells help. That you change modality, smell, input of information into your brain with whomever you have dealt with. That helps you to reconnect to yourself, structure yourself back to yourself, and you cut the cords. So for every being that you have been with or you've been in contact with, you have created an image template of a memory. You need to get into your own operating system and change the memory banks, or imagine the memory bank a little bit different and change the perspective to that memory. That doesn't erase the fact that what happened happened. All you do is like what happened to me. Like I had a business relation with a person, and I was very hurt and felt betrayed in all the programs that run with it. And then I say, well, that person came to my platform that I play on, where I am in control of my perspective. No one else is in control of your perspective but you. So I changed, like the camera lens, change the perspective and say, okay, you're no longer at that stage. You're no longer at that playground. You're far, far away. And I'm no longer interested in playing that game of exchange or illusion of growth that we so call it in the esoteric sector, that it's needed. When a high school teacher is in front of a Harvard professor, there's no more teaching required in that sense. Of course, everybody's student and teacher at the same time, but you know what I mean. Like, you don't need a second grader to teach a sixth grader. When everything is in divine order, it shouldn't be the case. So when you realize that and you change your perspective with a clear mind state and a discipline of the mind, you fire the actor. They can't take directions and they can't follow the play in order for you to bring it to a great movie production, which is the most likable movie in the world, your own, that you are playing in and you're the leading role. With respect for everybody on this planet, you can hire and fire at will. You decide, you create, you are creator of reality. Never forget that. On that note, the power is with you. You decide what comes and goes. You decide what matters most. Stay in the flow, and I most certainly see you on the flip side. Namaste.